Hello everyone, my name is Jinjoz and welcome to my Pokemon anime review series. Last episode, Ash and Misty were challenged by a samurai in the Viridian Forest, where Ash learned a lesson about taking responsibility for his actions and witnessed his Metapod evolving into a Butterfree. Today we'll be talking about Season 1, Episode 5, Showdown in Pewter City, a pivotal and core episode of the series. Before jumping into the episode, our Who's That Pokemon for this episode is one of Brock's signature Pokemon, Onyx. This Pokemon is composed of a giant chain of gray boulders that decrease in size towards the tail. It's the tallest rock-type Pokemon to date, and as it grows older, the boulders become rounder and smoother, eroding as it tunnels under the ground at over 50 miles an hour. Its brain is a magnet that serves as an internal compass, guiding Onyx wherever they need to go, and prevents them from getting lost as they dig. Their tunnels are used as a home for Diglett, and Onyx can become very violent when injured, attacking other Pokemon and humans. Its Pokemon Sword entry reads, as it digs through the ground, it absorbs many hard objects. This is what makes its body so solid. Looking to its stats, among all unevolved Pokemon, it is the heaviest Pokemon at 463 pounds, the tallest at 28 feet 10 inches, and the highest defense stat at 160. Moving into the episode, we actually start off with Jesse and James, getting the Team Rocket theme out of the way very quickly, though why they're reciting is kind of a mystery. They must be rehearsing a new routine or something. They are pulling a classic Team Rocket move by digging a hole in the middle of the road, though this time they can't remember where it is. They're simply getting too good at their job. As expected, they trigger their own pitfall, and I'll be honest, Meowth, kind of disappointing you, bud. Moving to Ash, Pikachu, and Misty, they arrive on the outskirts of Pewter City, running into a mysterious man named Flint, a rock seller, Pewter City souvenirs, Flint notices that Pikachu's a little worn out, so he offers to show them to the Pokemon Center, but ends up charging them $2 for sitting on his rocks. Biggest Pokemon battle competition in the region, the Pokemon League. Misty doesn't seem to have a lot of confidence in Ash, and even Flint pops in to tell him there's no way he's going to defeat Brock, the gym leader stationed here in Pewter City. Ash and Misty head to dinner, with Ash eating pretty aggressively as he's pretty frustrated and his pride is hurt. Misty offers her help in a pretty snide way, to which Ash says he doesn't need any help. Misty huffs off, stiffing Ash with the bill. Ash picks up his Pokemon and heads to Pewter City Gym, opening those doors without an appointment, mind you, and yelling, "Hello!" as he enters. He walks in and Brock dramatically reveals himself. He must have a clap on or clap off thing or something. Ash gets straight to the point and challenges Brock to a Pokemon battle. Brock's personality is so different than what we are used to. Pretty serious, curt, like he is bothered by Ash coming into his gym, though I'm sure it's just a persona he puts on being a gym leader. He tells Ash that it'll be a 2-on-2 match, snaps his fingers so a rock battle environment is brought in, and he ninja jumps to his position. Ash sends out Pikachu, and then Brock sends out Onyx, and I gotta say, seeing Onyx for the first time when I was a kid, I thought that's gotta be one of the most powerful Pokemon ever. How does it even fit inside the Pokeball? It just blew my mind. Pikachu is not down for this, tries to get out of it, but sheepishly heads back in while Ash encourages him. Well, the battle is pretty one-sided. Onyx tackles and ends up binding Pikachu, whose electrical attacks have no effect on him. Ash then tries to return Pikachu into his Pokeball, the only time that this ever happens, mind you, but it is being blocked by Onyx, and I gotta say, Brock, at this point he's obviously trying to withdraw his Pokemon, maybe call off your giant rock snake and stop him before Pikachu pops like a balloon. Eventually Ash surrenders, correctly, and walks out, carrying Pikachu in his arms. Outside the gym he runs into Flint, who brings Ash and Pikachu back to his cabin, making tea and taking care of Pikachu. Ash questions Flint about Brock. Why hasn't he tried to become a regional champion himself? Flint brings Ash to Brock's home and spies through the open door and sees Brock cooking dinner for him and his 10 brothers and sisters, meaning he has too much responsibility to go out on his own Pokemon journey. So spoiler alert, Flint is Brock's dad, and I gotta say, this guy is a real scumbag. I mean, this guy left his wife with all these kids. Some of them seem to only be 5 years old max. This leads to the mother dying and leaving Brock, whom I just found is 15, mind you, to look after all these kids and be the gym leader of Pewter City. I'm assuming to pay the bills. On top of all that, he lives just on the outskirts of the city, selling rocks as souvenirs instead of going back home and taking care of his kids. Not a fan of you, Flint. Not a fan. Now, of note, this is actually an error in either translation or purposely changed to the American audience. Rather than Brock's mother passing away, in the Japanese version it states that she also abandoned her family to become a Pokemon trainer. This is later proven correct, as Brock's mother does make an appearance later in the anime. Both parents abandoning Brock to take care of his 9 siblings, pretty dirty, and I'm just impressed that Brock turns out to be the stand-up guy that we know. Ash is determined to battle Brock again, saying if he can power up Pikachu, he could beat him. Flint has an idea and brings him to a hydroelectric pump, which isn't running due to the river running dry. But they hook up Pikachu, and Ash hops on the water wheel and starts rotating it himself. Some conflicting feelings about this. It shows Ash is determined, and he is willing to put in the hard work. But hooking up your Pokemon to a hydroelectric pump seems dangerous, and maybe a cheap way to power up your Pokemon. But then Pikachu naturally stores electricity in his cheeks, so maybe there's something there. Misty actually stops by, once again offering help and her water Pokemon, but Ash dismisses her. He wants to earn the badge with the Pokemon he raised, which shows integrity. Though supercharging your Pokemon instead of training it out in the wild does seem a little bit of a shortcut. He just used a bunch of rare candies. Let's just go with that. Either way, Pikachu is charged to the point that it destroys the pump, and they are ready to face Brock. The next day, Ash heads to the gym and slams those double doors open like Aragorn returning to Helm's Deep like a boss. Brock isn't impressed. They set up the stage, and the battle begins. First up, Geodude versus Pidgeotto. While Ash is determined, type advantages aren't his strong point, as Brock smiles through a gust attack that has no effect. Pidgeotto is returned, and Pikachu is sent out. Brock throws out some pompous trash talk, which is really weird to hear from him, as I can't recall him ever acting like that later on in the series. Pikachu sends an electrical attack and absolutely barbecues Geodude, which in theory can't work since Geodude is a ground type, but hey, early episodes of the anime don't count, right? Brock sends out Onyx, and Pikachu is sent into a panic, discharging electricity that hit Onyx, smashes rocks, and starts a fire in the rafters. Onyx ends up in a bind again, and while his Thunderbolt is harming Onyx, it's not enough to stop him. Ash is holding out, but it is Brock who ends up stopping the battle, not wanting to harm Pikachu, at least this time. The sprinkler system then goes off, dousing the stage and Onyx in water. Ash and Pikachu take this advantage, sending out another Thunderbolt to take down Onyx. Ash goes in for the final blow, but Brock's little brothers and sisters hold him back. But Ash thinks it simply is conscious. Ash returns Pikachu. Brock says this match isn't over, but Ash walks out. What a strange set of circumstances. First, Brock calls the match off, then Ash seemingly seems to defeat Onyx, but then calls off his attack. Brock says the match isn't over, and then Ash walks out. Honestly, once Brock called off Onyx, I think that is when the match was over, and Ash officially lost. Ash is walking out of town, apologizing to Pikachu for possibly pushing him too far. Brock runs to catch up to Ash and hands him the Boulder Badge. Ash tries to refuse, but Brock insists. He says that he beat him in battle and in caring for all Pokemon, something that I think Brock momentarily forgot about in the first battle. I think that Brock sort of forgot himself in the persona he gives off as a gym leader. More callous, hard, and it leads to him in that first battle not to let off of Pikachu when Onyx had him in that bind attack. This isn't the Brock we know, and I think he sort of checked himself in that second battle by calling Onyx off. I think seeing how much Ash cared about Pikachu really led Brock to reevaluate himself, and he rewards Ash with the Boulder Badge. Flint shows up and reveals himself as Brock's father, and decides that he needs to take care of his family, and wants Brock to go fulfill his dream of becoming the world's best Pokemon breeder. We get a tense moment where Brock has full rights to just explode on his father right here, but he ends up giving him the lowdown on how to take care of all of the kids. Talk about a quick forgiving man that Brock is. The trio is now officially formed, 3 great people who have strikingly different personalities, but with a common love and care for all Pokemon. It's a rocky start, with Ash trying to run fast enough to lose Misty, but eventually they will become lifelong friends. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Join me next time, where we will be going over Season 1, Episode 6, Clefairy and the Moonstone. Hope to see you there, and I hope you have a wonderful day.